Okay, so let's look at another example and see what we can see about making predictions. Um, next paragraph. You have to water the tomatoes in the morning, not at midnight or night. It should say not at. Veronica told her brother AJ. He nodded, but it didn't really look like he was paying attention. They need to aspirate water all day, so please water them in the morning, she continued. Yeah, water the plants, AJ said with frustration. Veronica was traveling out of the country to Spain for 2 weeks. She was counting on her brother AJ to water her plants. He had been irresponsible in the past, but she was giving him another chance. She had heard that gardening was therapeutic, and AJ needed therapy. She hugged and kissed him goodbye and then went to the airport. Okay, now, even right now, if we were anticipating what's going to happen, do we think AJ's going to water those plants? Says he's been irresponsible in the past, right? Doesn't look like he's really listening. While she was gone, AJ stopped by the garden once or twice at the start of the first week, and then he lost interest. Uh-oh. Veronica wanted to call her brother to remind him to water the plants, but she was having so much fun in Spain that she forgot. When Veronica finally returned, the first thing she did was check out her garden. She walked up to the patch, and what's she going to find? Well, anything could happen. Even though he lost interest, maybe somebody else could have come along. Maybe their mother saw the plants were dying and came to water them. Maybe AJ remembered all of a sudden and he went. Maybe the plants would be in better shape because she'd been watering them too much. And so they were happier now than when she was overwatering them. But obviously, what the writer is expecting us to expect next is that the garden is in bad shape or dead, right? Now, the writer might not do that in a story if she or he wants to surprise us in some way or take us off in a different direction than we've been led to expect. But the test is asking us to anticipate what the next logical event is. And the next logical thing is that she's going to see the garden and it's probably not going to be in good shape. Okay? All right, look at the next passage. Ding, the timer rang. Cassandra pulled the oven door open and the fragrance of hot cherry pie filled the room. Steam was emanating from the surface of the pastry. Steam was coming up from the surface of the pastry. Cassandra took a deep whiff, a deep smell of it, and said, mmm. Then she put the pie on the kitchen table to cool off and went off to knit a hat for her grandson. Her dog Champ must have smelled the pie too. Uh-oh. He wandered into the kitchen, put his forelegs on the table, and licked his lips. Well, obviously, what's Champ going to do next? He's going to try to lick or bite the pie, right? Now, maybe it's too hot and he'll go away yapping, ow, ow, ow. You know, he's burned his mouth. But definitely, we are being led to expect that the next step is going to be that he takes a bite of the pie. Now, maybe Cassandra will come into the kitchen and see him right before he does, right? Maybe something will distract him and he'll, get distracted and go off and do something else. All kinds of things could happen. But the step that we are logically expecting next is for him to try to take a bite of that pie. Okay? We don't know what happens after. Whether it's okay or he burns himself or what, right? But we are expecting him to take a bite next. And then the final passage here. Tex opened the can of peaches with his knife and cooked them over the fire. He shared them with his buddy Dusky, and they told stories of stampedes and bandits until they tired of talking. Tex took off his boots and unrolled his blanket. He didn't mind sleeping under the stars. He put his hat over his face and fell asleep with his head on his pack. During the night, a scorpion found itself next to Tex. The scorpion was very tired, and unlike Tex, the scorpion did not want to sleep under the stars. Out in the open, it means, right? No tent or anything. He liked small, dark places, like Tex's boot. He crawled into the front of Tex's boot and fell asleep. When Tex awoke in the morning, he couldn't wait to get a jump on the day, to get going for the day. He put on his hat, clicked on his belt and gun holsters. And then what's he going to do next? He's going to put on his boots, right? Now, so the next thing is he's going to put on his boots and that scorpion's in there. Well, the next thing is he's going to put on his boots, right? Maybe the scorpion's there. Maybe it left already. Maybe it's going to sting him. Maybe he's going to squash it when he puts his foot in the boot. But the next thing that's going to happen is he's going to put on his boots. Okay? Now, in the story, all kinds of things could actually happen. And if it's a good story, it's not always going to be expectable, right? If there were such a word. We're not always going to be able to anticipate correctly what comes next. But that's different from what's happening on a reading test. The writers of the reading test want to see if we've understood the story, if we have understood the progression of events, and if we can anticipate what the next logical thing to happen is based on the events, based on the progression of events that we've read so far. Okay? All right. Thank you for your attention.